Hello and welcome everybody to another StarCraft 2 cast by Glitch. Today, I'm going to be casting for you another best of 3 from the Blizzcon Invitational 2011, and spawning here in the bottom left position of Shakuras Plateau for Game 1, playing for Team Liquid, we have Ret. Spawning here in the top right position as the blue Zerg, we have Sen. Sen, of course, was representing Taiwan there. Sen is probably one of Taiwan's, if not the top Taiwanese player. I don't think there's anyone better in Taiwan than Sen. I think he's actually one. I think I saw an interview recently where they were saying like Sen is just so far ahead of everybody else that basically in every Taiwanese tournament they all just play for second all the time because there's pretty much no chance in beating Sen. Sen is just that good. He's really, really good. Spends a lot of time playing on the Korean server. Has a ridiculous amount of practices. Super good. Very, very good. Ret, of course, not a bad player at all either. He's also extremely good. Very, very famous for having very, very heavy macro style and just getting up lots and lots of drones in the early game. Definitely going to be expecting him to most likely go for a fast expansion here on Shakuras Plateau just because it's pretty much the safe move to do on this map with that one small ramp there defending both bases. And whoa, no, actually we are going to have a spawning pool here coming down for Ret, and amazingly we have a hatchery here coming down for Sen. So Sen is definitely counting on the fact that Ret is going to macro because, well, Ret is just generally a macro player, and so he's just expecting that Ret is most likely going to fast expand. But no, as we can see, Ret's actually assuming that Sen is going to think that he's fast expanding, so he's actually going to throw down a gas in a pool here and go for some early aggression. He's going to get up that fast Zergling speed, and I don't think he's going to be able to, or I don't think Sen is going to quite be prepared for this from Ret. Now, this is very interesting. If we look at the mini-map down here, check out the Overlord movements of both of these players. Both of these players have developed some kind of interesting timing where they're both doing pretty much the same scout, where they scout along this bottom or top area and then cut down along this diagonal path towards the natural expansion and then send the second Overlord straight out towards the middle of the map. That is a very, very interesting Overlord scout pattern. As you can see, they're just about to kind of cross. They've almost been exactly timed together. That's a very, very interesting scout pattern here from both of these players. This is, of course, it might be timed just to catch drone scouts as they come out so that they can try to get a good feel on where their opponent is going to be coming from. But other than that, I'm not exactly sure why exactly they do the Overlord movements that way. And there we go. Ret is now going to be taking his expansion now that his pool is down and that metabolic boost is on the way. But what is Sen going to have? We do have Zerglings now coming across the map here for Ret, but at this point in time, there is not a whole lot out for Sen. He is producing some Zerglings. 6 Zerglings are on the way. His two Queens are on the production tab, but here come the Zerglings into the natural expansion of Sen, and he's going to start to pick away at those drones, but lots of Zerglings now on the production tab here for Sen, and now all these drones as well as a couple of Zerglings now popping out for Sen, and here goes the engagement as both of these lings try to get as much damage as they can. But I think with these drones here, these drones are so good in the early game. Sen is actually doing a fantastic job of killing off some of Ret's Zerglings without losing very much at all. I don't think he actually lost any workers in that exchange. No, as you can see, zero workers killed for both of these players right now. If we check out that harvester count, we can see that Ret is currently actually up 2 harvesters to the 18 of Sen just because he really produced, he forced a lot of lings here out of Sen. So Sen now has a kind of a lot of lings on the field. And he's a little bit behind in tech just because his gas was so much later. His spawning pool is just now starting that metabolic boost, whereas Ret's just finished up. So his Zerglings do now have speed. Is he going to be taking advantage of that and trying to get some drone kills on his opponent? Because once your Zerglings have speed and your opponents do not, you really do have a huge advantage in the game. And as we can see, Sen being very, very careful. He is not sending out his Zerglings. Why? Because, well, he knows that his opponent is going to have that faster Zergling speed, so he does not want to have all his Zerglings caught out in the middle of the map. So he's going to keep all the Zerglings in his base until that Zergling speed completes here. Baneling Nest now coming up here for Sen. I believe, yeah, the Baneling Nest is already up here for Ret. Evolution Chamber. In the way, it looks like both these players are going to be getting those Banelings most likely for defensive purposes in ZVZ. Unless they go go for some kind of big all-in with lots of banelings, or try to do some little baneling trickery where you send 2 banelings into their mineral line, then it's generally not too standard to get too many banelings. And there we go. Now the Roach Warren is coming down for Rhett, definitely transitioning to a much more standard style of play. And I'm actually kind of going to keep this harvester count here open for just a little bit, just because it's really what the important tab is. Oh, here we go. Now Sen is looking to get a little bit aggressive here, as he has started to morph 5 banelings, and he's producing a lot more lings on the production tab. You can see 16 lings are on the way, as well as those 5 banelings that are out here already in the middle of the map. And Rhett's got a few banelings out here for defense. He's now going to come out with these Zerglings and start to poke in, and he just now spots the banelings, and he's now just going to be pulling back to his base. He does not yet have any spine crawlers up. It would actually be a pretty smart move right now to be getting up a spine crawler, because that would just make him a little bit more safe to get drones. But as you can see, now he's having to produce a lot of lings now on the way, and here come all the banelings, and ooh, I don't know about that exchange there for Rhett. He just lost a couple of banelings there to 3 banelings there. Not the best exchange there for Rhett, and oh no, lots of lings getting lost to that 1 baneling. Rhett is definitely going to be down in the units lost tab, but it looks like with this queen here, that extra DPS is going to be able to help out Rhett quite a bit. But as we can see, wow, look at the harvester difference right now. That is where the big difference lies, in that Rhett was forced to produce so many Zerglings, 40 harvesters to 30 right now on that harvester count. Despite the fact that the resources lost count is pretty much dead even, but Sen is just going to be way ahead in the harvesters. If you check out his natural expansion there, he's mining so much more than Rhett is right now. Yeah, he's just got so much higher of a drone count. Now, Rhett is up in upgrades and in tech. His Roach Warren is already up. Sen's is just now about halfway done. His +1 attack is also not nearly as far finished as Rhett, so Rhett is definitely winning in the tech game, but he's got a lot of lings on the field right now. Looks like he's going to try to deal some damage. All these Zerglings now coming into the expansion here, and ooh, just barely manages to slip by those banelings. And whoa! Rhett every time getting a little too close to those banelings for comfort. Looks like he's going to be trying to pick them off there, and again, lots of lings go down to that 1 baneling. There we go. Now the banelings are finally down, and now Rhett is going to be trying to get in here and do as much damage as he can. But as you can see, from being behind in the food count for so long, or for being behind in the harvester count for so long, he is now pretty far down in food count, 59 food to 87. Holy cow, that is a big difference there for Sen. Sen has got a lot more workers up right now. Even now in the worker tab, you can see that Rhett is just now starting to even out with Sen. Both players having about 50 workers. Layer tech is now up here for Rhett. It hasn't even been started yet for Sen. So Sen is getting up a lot of roaches, though. This roach count is getting really, really big here for Sen, and right now, at this point in time, Rhett really just doesn't really have all that much, and it looks like Sen is going to decide to move out here. Rhett is going for a much more long-term focused play. He's going for upgrades. He just started his +2 missile attacks. His Roach Warren is now researching that Glial Reconstitution. He's getting that +1 ground carapace attack. These are all long-term moves, but as we can see, Sen is taking his time to tech, meaning that he's going to be much safer and have a lot more army units out on the field, and as we can see, this is a big, scary push here coming from Sen. He's just taking full advantage of the fact that he was just up in harvester count for so long, and now he's just going to be coming in with all these roaches. And will Rhett be able to get up enough defenses in time? Spine crawlers are now coming up here, but the roach count right now for Rhett is drastically lower. 20 roaches to 7 right now, as Rhett's trying to hold this off. I think Rhett needs to actually pull back for as long as he can, and maybe even pull some drones offline here. As you can see, he's not quite doing that yet. Needs to get those spine crawlers up as soon as possible, and there we go. Now the spines are just now popping up. Rhett is now pulling all his drones offline. All his drones are coming in to try to deal damage to these roaches, but there are just so many roaches. These do not have nearly the upgrades that Rhett has. Rhett has 1-1 upgrades to the only 1-0 upgrades of Sen, but man, Sen just has too big of a roach count. More lings are now continuing to be streamed across the map. All we're seeing is more and more lings coming across the map here, and Sen is feeling so confident about this win. He is now going back to droning just to be sure that he doesn't, or that he wins in the long term, because these roaches definitely did their fair share of damage. And there's the GG from LiquidRet, meaning Sen's taking game 1, and we are going to be going into game 2 to see if Rhett can come back and push this best of 3 to a game 3. So stick with me, guys. Game 2 in just a moment.